Hello, how is everybody out there? Hope you guys are all doing well. I'm doing pretty good. It's cool out here in California right now. Cold, I should say, for us, but I know I keep saying that every week. Every week I do this. I'm sorry. I know it's not cold for you guys in the Midwest and back east, but to us, 52 degrees is freezing cold. So that's what we're dealing with out here right now. But got a few things right on. I'm glad. I appreciate the guys in the chat that are letting me know they could hear my voice. That helps me to not freak out thinking something's wrong with the stream or something like that. It seems like there's always something that goes wrong, and maybe this one will work out okay. That'll be nice. So, got a bunch of stuff to cover tonight, and then I'll try to get some questions too and see what we can do. The first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is the obvious, the Sporlan BQ valve right behind me right there. Released my giveaway video for it, and just kind of want to cover some of the rules. There was a little bit of confusion, a couple questions and different things, and I want to cover some stuff. So I'm using an app called King Sumo. It's kind of a giveaway app, and it kind of integrates things for me and helps me a little bit. Thank you very much to Brian Orr over at HVAC School. He's the one that turned me on to that app, so that's why I'm using that. But it allows me to give you guys extra entries into the contest by doing certain things, okay? And I do realize that there's one function on there that isn't working properly, and it's the watch this video function. For whatever reason, I've gotten quite a few people telling me that, for that feature, when they click on the link, either it doesn't let them watch the video, or if it does let them watch it, it doesn't give them the bonus points. So I apologize for that one. I don't know, that part of the app must be broken or something, but as far as I can tell, everything else is working properly. So for those of you that don't know, I released a video today. I'd kind of been teasing it for a while about the Sporlan BQ TEV kit. Okay, and I encourage you guys to go watch that video. It was my newest video that I released this morning. At the end of the video, it tells you to look in the show notes for the video. And if you look in the show notes, right, 3-4 lines down, there's a link to enter the contest, okay? You can also, if you happen to be watching this live, you can also look inside the chat right now, and every once in a while, the Nightbot is going to continuously put the link in here to enter the contest. And then also, if you aren't watching this live, or even if you want to do it this way, if you look in the show notes of this video, this live stream right now, it will tell you right the very first line. It has the link on how to enter the video, okay? And I do want to cover something really quick because I know a lot of people have a hard time with how to navigate YouTube. Some people don't understand how it works. So what I'm going to show you guys here is where to go to see the so hang on just a second, and let me look something up here, and I will show you guys how to see certain things within YouTube, so that way you guys can see it if you don't already know how to do that. So I'm just pulling something up on my screen right now, and then I will bring this up for the people that don't know how it works. So basically, I will screen share real quick, display capture. Let me transition it over. Let me make sure there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing on there that's problematic for... Sometimes there's personal information on there. Okay, so we're watching myself type right now because I happen to be watching my own live video. That's the one that I pulled up. But if you guys look right down here, okay, right below the title right here, it says right here, okay, right down there, it says Sporlan BQ TEV Kit Giveaway. Click the link below. Click that. Sometimes on these videos, it doesn't allow you to see that. There's like a little triangle right here in the right-hand corner. You have to click on that, and then it brings a drop down. You can also see this on your Android device too. You guys can see that kind of stuff. So I encourage you guys to do that because you will get extra entries into the contest. I'm sorry, but anyways, that's the easiest way to do it, and I suggest you do that. The other thing I want to bring up too is that you guys should really pay attention to how you can get extra entries into the contest, okay? The contest has, like, the biggest goal of this contest, okay, is obviously I really wanted to give away one of these kits. I reached out to Sporlan, and they agreed to take a gamble and try this out because, I told them that potentially I could get them more traffic, because people don't really know about this kit. It's been around since the Ice Age, but a lot of people just don't understand how it works and didn't even know that it still existed. But I'm just trying to raise awareness for this kit, and that's obviously going to benefit Sporlan, okay? But then I think it's also going to benefit all you guys, because then you get to realize that this kit can be out there and you can have it in your trucks and it can save you guys headaches. The biggest thing here is that we need to show Sporlan our appreciation for this. So if I could really get you guys to make sure that you are subscribed to their YouTube channel, that's a big plus, okay? That will help us to potentially do more stuff like this, okay? But if you guys do it through the link, okay, then you get the points for subscribing to their channel. Also, if you guys share it on Facebook, the way that it works through the app, okay, or through the link, if you share it on Facebook and someone else clicks on that link, then you get more entries. I think you get 3 entries for someone clicking on your link and signing up for the thing too. So you have the ability. So if you guys share it in groups or different things like that, potentially you have the potential to get quite a few people, and quite a few extra bonus points, okay, for yourself and, entry points or whatever. All right. One last critical thing about the giveaway is you guys have to confirm your email. Okay. I have a landing page and I can see how many people have entered the contest today. It was like right around 200 people or something like that today. And, it tells me who hasn't confirmed their email. So after you enter the contest, it's going to send you guys an email to the email address you provide them. Okay. And you need to check for that email. It may not show up in your inbox, and you need to check in your spam box, because your entry, I don't think, is official until you confirm your email address. So you guys want to make sure you go ahead and do that, and make sure you confirm it. That way you guys get your official entry, because when it comes time on April 1st to do the drawing, I think it might disqualify you guys if you haven't confirmed your email entry. Okay. So, really appreciate you guys. I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for subscribing to my channel and continuing to pay attention to what I put out. Okay. I'm very humbled by this kind of stuff, because I've said it so many times, but I'm just a normal service technician. Okay. There's plenty other guys out there that are better than I. I've just picked up a camera. Okay. I encourage you other guys that haven't picked up a camera yet to do so. Okay. The more that we share our knowledge with the new people coming into the trade, the better it's going to be for us. There's an old wives' tale that, you need to keep your knowledge to yourself because it benefits you more, and that it's going to hurt you if you share your knowledge. Well, that's bullshit. Okay. Sorry, but you need to share your knowledge, because it's only going to help. It's not going to hurt you. Okay. We are hurting for technicians. Your job is not going to get hurt by sharing the knowledge that you have. So I really encourage anybody out there that does have knowledge to share it, to, help someone, even if it's just as simple in a Facebook group as talking to someone and mentoring someone in a Facebook group, when they ask questions. Go into the HVAC school Facebook page and, help someone out. There's all kinds of guys on there asking questions. Okay. I don't know if he's watching, but I do want to say I had like a really cool experience. I had a gentleman that contacted me from a military base overseas, and he wasn't really asking for help, because he kind of already had an idea what was going on, but he just kind of wanted to reassure and get a second opinion on his diagnosis of something. And it was really cool to be able to help someone like that. Okay. And, he was essentially, again, he knew what he was doing, but he was, just looking for some help on the internet, and he kind of struggled in finding it. And then he just so happened on my channel and, reached out to me. But it's that kind of stuff. There's a guy that's overseas that is, serving our country, and, he needed some help. And, I happened to be able to, I really didn't help him much. I was just more or less an ear to listen to, and I typed back and reassured his diagnosis, but he already had everything figured out. But, I just thought it was really cool. And it's that kind of stuff that totally makes it worth it, guys. I get guys, sending me emails quite often from all over the place. New people, it's just very humbling to get this kind of stuff. So I want to say thank you to all you guys that are watching right now. I really appreciate this. Okay. And I want to continue to do these kind of giveaways. Okay. For the people that are just coming in right now, you didn't really miss much. I just talked about the video that I released today about the Sporlan giveaway. I'm giving away the Sporlan BQ TEV kit right behind me. Okay. It's a fully loaded TEV kit. If you haven't watched my video, please go do it. It's the video I released today. It's just a kit that you can keep in your truck, and you can pretty much build any expansion valve. Okay. So, the Nightbot is going to be popping up stuff inside the chat. and pay attention to that, because there's a link if you guys want to enter if you haven't already. And like I said, make sure you guys take advantage of all the opportunities you get to enter by sharing on Facebook and all that good stuff. And if you only do one thing, please subscribe to Sporland's YouTube channel. Okay, that's a big one, please. Okay, so now that I'm done ranting about the giveaway, okay, and hey to everybody that said hi. I really haven't been able to come in here and say hi to everybody. I see people coming in here talking to me. I'll try to get back into here, guys, and say hi here in a minute and see what your guys' questions are and stuff. Okay. Ralph from Honeywell. Hey, bud. How's it going, man? Okay. So just going to kind of go over a few questions that I had this last week, and I thought they were great topics for this live stream, and I think it would work out really well and help everybody. Okay. So I had lots of questions about the direct fired makeup air unit. I think I released that video maybe on Friday, and it was a follow-up video because I had worked on a captive air unit a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And I don't know if you guys remember, but it was frozen because the water valve stuck. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. You guys can go see the video, okay? Anyways, I kind of released a part 2 because it was my repair video where I went in and changed the cell deck pads, cleaned all the misting orifices, changed the water solenoid valve, and I had put a little GoPro inside the unit and saw you guys when the flame adjusted up and when it adjusted down. Then I got a bunch of questions because people never understood the concept of a direct fired makeup air unit, and they didn't realize that the products of combustion are going directly into the occupied space. And I get a lot of people saying, well, how's that safe? Okay. First off, the amount of air moving through that unit, I'm not going to downplay the products of combustion, because the products of combustion going down into the building, yes, they aren't good. But you got to look at the amount of air passing by that, okay, mixing with that. And remember, this unit is not a heater. It's just for tempering the air, okay? So it's not meant to bring the building air temperature down. What it's meant to do, because we're forcing outside air into the building, it's meant to temper that, just ever so slightly warm the air up, okay? It's never going to blow 90-degree air on the cooks or anything like that. With that being said, there's so much air bypassing that flame that you're really mixing more, you're bringing in more fresh air than you're putting products of combustion into that building. Still, that doesn't discount the danger there, and that's why we have interlink devices. This direct fired makeup air unit cannot run unless the exhaust fans are running at the same time, okay? And that also helps to make sure that we don't fill that building up with nasty stuff that's going to make people sick, okay? So lots of questions on that. Okay, the next one that I got was digital gauges. I get this one all the time. I'm just going to address it right now. People asking me what's my favorite digital gauges out there, okay? There's all kinds of brands, guys. It's to each their own. Whatever works for you, okay? I can't talk anything bad about the Testo products. I've said this before because I've never used the Testo products, okay? I really don't have anything bad to say about them. The only thing I would say that I don't care for the Testo stuff is a lot of their stuff is made for another country and it's adapted for the United States. So you can just tell the way that the app is kind of set up and everything with the smart probes that it's just kind of a little different. But again, their products work great, okay? I know they don't have the Bluetooth range at this moment that like the Fieldpiece products do, okay? But I have heard little rumors here and there that they were going to be upgrading their Bluetooth range. I don't know if that's true, okay? Now, for what I use, I happen to use the Fieldpiece JobLink probes, and I use them with either the Fieldpiece app and or the Measure Quick app, okay? I like the Measure Quick app, and the really cool thing about the Measure Quick app is that you can use a combination of different smart devices. So if I want to use the iManifold probes, I can use those alongside of the Fieldpiece JobLink probes and the Testo probes. So I can have a suction pressure transducer with the iManifold stuff. I can have a temperature clamp with the Testo stuff. I can have, you can mix match and it would still all sync and work correctly with the Measure Quick app, okay? So the Measure Quick app is really, really awesome. Currently right now, the Measure Quick app, as best as I know, does not have a refrigeration version. I know that it's been said that they're working on that, so that's hopefully coming in the future. I'm a big Fieldpiece fan when it comes to the digital products that Fieldpiece makes. They've always just been really good to me, but I've also heard other people say that they don't like their products. Okay. So again, to each their own. I'm not knocking anybody because they don't like their products. It is what it is, guys. Okay. So, I'm a big fan of the Fieldpiece S-Man 480, and that is the unreleased new manifold. And they also have the 380. So the 380 is the 3-port manifold. The 480 is the 4-port manifold. Okay. They've got a lot of cool features, and the 480 and the 380 will communicate with the job link probes but they are not going to come with the job link probes. Okay. So if you go and buy an S-Man 480 when it comes out, it's not going to come with wireless temperature clamps. It's just capable of working with the wireless temperature clamps. Okay. From Fieldpiece, it's going to come with the standard wired thermocouples, okay, just like they always have. But that manifold, I'm not going to go on a tangent on that, but it's a really, really cool manifold. I've been beta testing it for a long time for them, and they put a lot of innovation into that, okay? So I like the Fieldpiece products when it comes to the digital stuff. Let's see. Let's go. I'll get to the chat. I see some questions there in a minute. Want to cover something that I was turned on to and wasn't completely aware of, and it was actually Ralph. You're in here right now. It was actually Ralph that brought it to my attention about the new rule that state of California. Gotta love the state of California, guys. Okay, we're always the pioneers on everything, right? So I mentioned this in the last live stream last week. We had those EPA laws that were going to come in, and they was going to change everything, and a lot of the refrigerants were being phased out, and there's a lot more information. I'm not super smart with that, but we had an administration change. A lot of things changed, and a lot of the EPA stuff was put on hold. Well, the great state of California decided that they couldn't have any of that stuff put on hold, so they adopted and wrote their own rules. So there's all kinds of rules that I was not aware of that passed January 1st that I am now aware of. And basically, on new installations, we can't be using 404A anymore. Okay, so that was an interesting smack in the head, because I really wasn't paying that much attention to that stuff. And it just took some changes on my part. I just had to change a few things, and it wasn't a really, really big deal. But for those of you guys that don't know, on a new installation, my understanding, and again, I'm not the utmost expert, but my understanding is that on remote systems, you are not allowed to use R404A refrigerant as the new refrigerant for it anymore. You have to use one of the alternative refrigerants that's a lot less global warming potential, all that good stuff. Okay, so the alternative that I used was R448A. And I was actually very much impressed when I did use it. I used it on an install that I will be releasing a video on. And the head pressure was insanely low. It took me back to the R22 days. It's very, very similar as far as the pressures that it operates at. Reminded me so much of R22. I think I was running it was a cold day, and I think I was running 175 head pressure or something like that, which was kind of a trip to go from 404, where you're running the higher head pressures basically, to go down to this R448A. But yeah, there was nothing difficult about it, guys. It was nothing to be afraid of. It's just one of those things you got to do. We don't need to get political in here and say what's good, what's bad, all that good stuff. It is what it is, and that's the law in the state of California. So we just got to follow those. And, unfortunately for you guys that aren't in California, New York, you guys are next, because that's just how it works. California's first, New York is second, and then everybody else follows. So sorry, guys, even though the federal government put a hold on everything, the state governments are getting involved in it, and it is what it is, and things are changing. So, okay. That's one of the things I wanted to cover. I'm just kind of marking off my list as I usually do on this. Want to go ahead and cover another question that I had was on, and I've covered this one in depth a lot. I actually did a podcast with Brian Orr about it on HVAC School, and that is coil sensing temperature controllers. Okay. Got a couple questions about that in the last week, and just basic stuff. Okay. So I'm not going to go into total in depth on those, but I've got videos if you guys want to go back into the archives and look up videos on those. But coil sensing temperature controllers essentially is a mechanical temperature controller. It doesn't have to be mechanical. It can be digital too. And the sensing bulb is basically located in the evaporator coil. And the benefit of doing that is that we have a built-in defrost essentially. So whether it be digital or mechanical, if the cut-in temperature of that temperature controller is 40 degrees and it's above freezing, then having the thermostat sensing bulb or the digital temperature controller sensing bulb mounted in the coil, we're a lot more likely to make sure there's no frost on that coil before we turn that system back on, right? Because if there was frost on the coil would potentially be below 32 degrees. So if we make sure that our set point is set above 32 degrees, then the sensing bulb being mounted on the coil kind of acts as a self-defrosting feature, okay? So the question that I had about coil sensing temperature controllers was someone was just, asking me for reassurance in that when you do install a coil sensing temperature controller, you do have to let the unit cycle many times. Oftentimes on the little reach-ins that I work on, sometimes 5 or 6 times before the unit will actually stabilize out and come down into the normal operating temperatures. So it's very common on a coil sensing temperature controller, especially a mechanical one, to the first time that the unit shuts off and then turns back on, it's going to turn on at like 45 degrees. And then the second time, it's going to turn back on at 44 degrees. And then you're just going to have to watch it cycle after cycle. And then eventually it'll usually stabilize out. On the Delfield boxes that had the mechanical temperature controllers that I used to work on a lot, when you set them at the number 3 on the dial, it would range from 34 to 39 degrees, and that was perfect operation. One of the problems, I wouldn't say problems, but one of the things you have to understand when you're working with coil sensing temperature controllers is that they are very susceptible to system problems. And what I mean by that is if the expansion valve superheat is not 100% perfect, then the temperature controller might shut the box off too soon or too late. Oftentimes, we diagnose a coil sensing temperature controller as being bad when it's not necessarily the problem. It could be that we have a loose sensing bulb on the thermostatic expansion valve, and it's causing the unit to run a cold evaporator coil. And therefore, the box will shut off too soon and won't come on in time because the coil will still be nice and cold, okay? So it's very important that you pay attention to what you're working on and think about it before you just jump in there and diagnose a temperature controller, especially when they're coil sensing. I also had a video that I did a while back too. Hey, Ralph, thank you so very much, man. I also had a video that I did a while back where it was one of my other technicians had diagnosed a bad temperature controller, and I went out to go ahead and replace it because it was going to be a digital retrofit. And what I actually found was that it had a bad evaporator fan motor. The evaporator fan motor was spinning, but I could just tell it was a true box, and I could just tell it wasn't spinning fast enough. The unit had a coil sensing temperature controller, and that basically got the coil so cold that it was shutting the box off, thinking that it was cold enough inside the box when it wasn't. And it was all because the evaporator fan motor wasn't moving the air across the evaporator fast enough, and it was making it run a colder evaporator. So the temperature controller was doing its job, but we were just having, we weren't moving the air across the evaporator fast enough. So that's an example of a problem you might run into with a coil sensing temperature controller. And it was I don't fault my technician for diagnosing it as a temperature controller. He just didn't understand, okay? So, we explained it to him, and now he gets it, and he knows, okay, so we can't. And I made lots of those mistakes too, especially when we started doing a lot of Delfield work and they were using the constant cut-in controls. That was something, it was like, hey, this temperature controller is bad. And then we would go and change the temperature controller, and then it still wouldn't work right. And then, oh, okay. And on the Delfields, back in the day, the biggest problem was they were never strapping their sensing bulbs on their expansion valves properly. So the thing would run a really, really cold evaporator coil. And it had insulation on it, so it looked like it was good, but if you grabbed the sensing bulb and moved it, and I've showed that in my videos a bunch too, so that caused a lot of problems with those, okay? So I'm going to jump in here into the chat and see if I see anything in here. If you guys got questions, let's throw them down to the bottom. Okay. Force needs a larger condensing unit to give the same BTUs as R44. Yes, Sean. You typically get with the R448A, you typically get, you have to upsize the condensing unit, like basically one size bigger than a 404 unit. And this is if you're using Heatcraft equipment. Other manufacturers, you don't have to do it. Someone was explaining it to me. It has something to do with the glide and people not coming to a common consensus on how to measure superheat, and that's a whole technical thing that I don't want to get into right now. But so yeah, if you're working with Heatcraft equipment, they want you to upsize the condensing unit, and then you could actually almost downsize the evaporator coil, because with the 448A you get more BTUs out of the evaporator coil. But Total Tech, really appreciate it, man. But again, I am not an expert on that stuff, guys, but Sean, you are on the right track there. Yeah, you definitely do. Okay. And let's go up into here. It's really not, a big deal working with the 448A. It's just another refrigerant. No big deal, guys. So just make sure that you're following all the proper refrigeration practices, and then, it's charge it and call it a day. That system that I did the install on, the reason why I haven't released the video yet is because I'm actually going to go back tomorrow. I did the install on Friday. Box was really high in temp, so I let it go through the weekend. It came down to temp before I left, but I let it go through the weekend, and I'm going to go back tomorrow and do a superheat adjustment, or just check the superheat on the evap coils. So there was dual coils. So, and then I'll sign off on that one and hopefully finish up the video and get that edited and dropped out. So yeah, Damien, definitely interesting there, bud. So, okay. Yeah, California's got some interesting things there, Bill. See some guys. Yeah, the R448A is the blue jug, but don't remember colors don't mean anything anymore, guys, because there's so many different refrigerants out there. Because wasn't that MO99 crap blue too? So yeah, be cautious about going by colors. You got to go by the ASHRAE number on the refrigerant cylinders now. And I think, again, I'm not a super genius with this stuff, but I think we're going to like a common color and going to stop doing the multicolors. I thought that was a rule that was going to be coming out, where we weren't going to it was just going to be like all one color cylinder and then just stamped with the numbers, which I know there's problems in that too, but I thought that was coming. So I'm just kind of going up into here and seeing what I missed inside here. What kind of questions? See what I'm missing here. Gary Black, you said, what do I have as an everyday carry? Everyday carry, obviously I'm not in my work clothes right now, but I usually keep a thermometer in my pocket, a pocket screwdriver, and a inspection mirror, and then a pen. I don't carry a notepad anymore because I keep notes on my phone. Obviously keep my phone in my pocket, and a flashlight, pocket knife. Nothing fancy. I don't carry an expensive pocket knife, just like a $50 pocket knife from Lowe's or whatever. And I replace it about once a year because I beat the crap out of it. Yeah, nothing else. I don't carry any fancy tools on me. I mean, obviously I have my tool bag. You guys have seen my tool bag videos. Nothing's really changed in my tool bag. I've had the same tools in it ever since forever. One funny thing though, is I carry 2 sets of keys on me, 2 keys for my van, because I constantly lock myself out of my van. So instead of, I used to climb under my van to hide a key, or I'd have to call someone to come open up my van. So now I carry a key in each pocket. So that way, and it also helps too, because I'm working with helpers quite often, or other people. So I can always send them down. If I need something out of my van, I can give them my set, and then I always have another set in my pocket. So I'm going to go down here, guys. Yeah, there you go. Dallas fan 2020, all cylinders will be gray. So yeah, that's coming too. So it's just another thing, guys. It's not that big of a deal. We don't like change, but oh well, it makes the guys that aren't afraid of change one step ahead of the next guys. Okay. So just embrace change and roll with the punches. Okay. And it is what it is. Okay. 448 TXV is going to use R22 power head. And as far as the orifice sizes and different things, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I know it was an R22 power head on there. So, okay. Let's go into here. Yeah, everyday carry Glock. Nope, not in California, bud. Still haven't gotten my CCW license. So for those that, I'm sure you guys aren't living under a rock, and CCW is the concealed carry weapons permit. Okay. Yeah, I used to have a hidey key under the frame, but I don't anymore. So yeah, multiple sets of keys, man, always, because I just lock myself in my van all the time. So hyperthreaders, I honestly don't work with a lot of Resner units here in Southern California. I mean, for the guys that do like Home Depot work, they deal with the Resner units, because I see those in all the Home Depots. But I don't really deal with Resner units, because I'm doing restaurant work, so we really don't see those those types of heaters. Most of the stuff that I deal with is package units and whatnot. So I don't know if there's more people in this chat that can talk more about the Resner units. Yeah, but I don't deal with them too much. So, okay. Interesting one. Joseph, what do I love and dislike about my job? Okay, so my job is a little bit different than most, okay? Because I'm a business owner. I'm a technician. I could tell you what I absolutely love about my job. I love fixing things. I love troubleshooting. I love making videos and helping other people. I love that. What I don't like is having to deal with drama. We really don't have it anymore, but we used to have a lot of employee drama. That was a pain in the butt. But again, the crew I got going right now, we really don't have those problems, so it's much, much nicer. But in the past, yeah, employee drama was just a pain in the butt. Almost made business ownership not worth it. Customer drama, it's not fun, but I really, really do like the intricate troubleshooting problems. I like the difficult ones, even though they piss you off and they're head scratchers and they frustrate you. When you do figure them out, you usually look back on them and be like, oh yeah, that's what it was, and it helps you to learn. So I love troubleshooting. If I could just fix stuff every day and not have to worry about the business side of things, I'd be a happy camper. What's the new flavor for retrofit for R22? I don't even know, Danny. I mean, everybody's got a retrofit for R22. So I don't even know at this point. Ralph Halili, you said, how long do you think till all reach-ins and ice machines use R290? Well, all reach-ins are pretty much R290 at this point right now. Depending on sizes, pretty much every reach-in that's being installed today is R290. And as far as the ice machines go, the ice machines are on their way, but I was just in the Manitowoc training class, and the Manitowoc ice machines haven't, they have some tiny European models, I guess, that are R290 right now, but they haven't switched over to R290 as of yet, but they will soon. They're getting there. They've got a lot of 410A machines right now, which is another one that's being phased out. So it won't be long. I'm sure that the current guidelines and stuff are already in place, and they probably till 2020 or something like that. I know 2020 is a big year for a lot of changes, so that'll be interesting. So yeah, roll with the punches again. The biggest thing that's holding people back with the R290 changeover is the government restrictions on the charge limitations. Right now, the charge limitation on a refrigerator is 150 grams, which is 5 ounces and some change, I think. So, that limits some of the refrigerator manufacturers from, building a box that's big enough. One of the interesting things about R290, though, is it is more efficient, and they could do a lot more with a lot less refrigerant. So, 150 grams, that 5 ounces can run a unit that, let's say, I'm pulling these numbers out of my head, but it'll run a unit that previously had, 12 ounces in it or something like that of R404A, whatever it is. I mean, they tweak some things in the box and get some more efficiencies. I'm sure that they bump the insulation size up in the box and stuff like that too. So, Adam Smith, what about the giveaway? Hold on just a second. So the giveaway, I mentioned in the beginning of this, I'll talk about it again. The giveaway is going to be the official end date, and the announcement of the winner is going to be on April 1st. Okay. It's going to be in my live stream on April 1st. So I think that's about 20 days away or something like that. For those of you that haven't already, I showed in the beginning of this live stream, you need to go to the video that I released today, okay, on the Spoilin BQ kit. And in the show notes or the description of that video is a link. You need to click that link and follow the instructions. What I highly suggest you do is sign in with your Facebook account and share it in a group, because every link that you share in a group, if someone clicks on that link and signs up, not only do you get credit for sharing the link, but then you get credit for that person clicking on the link too, okay? So I've seen some people that have gotten already, I don't think they've been doing the sharing in the groups on Facebook, but I think the most entries I've seen someone get is 22 entries. And that's the biggest thing, though, that I ask of you guys, if you could please, is go to Sporlin's, within that link, make sure you click on Sporlin's YouTube channel and subscribe. Make sure you do it in the link, because then you get credit you get extra points for signing up. Okay. And you get extra credit points too for subscribing to Sportland's podcast and liking Sportland's Facebook page, for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my Facebook page too. So, but yes, so the giveaway will be coming soon. All right, let's go into here. Yeah. Manitowoc, Jeep Jones, you said Manitowoc using 410 in the new ice machines. And the interesting thing is that they released that 410 in their budget model ice machine first. I've yet to work on too many of those. That's the Cool Air ice machine. Have not come into my realm. So I'm still working on the Manitowoc Indigo machines. And as of my time right now, the machines that I'm working on are the Quiet Cube models, so they are still 404A, but I don't know how that works with all the new restrictions right now. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a whole thing. Yeah, Dave, I could not begin to explain how an industrial gas train works. I am sorry, guys. That is something that I do not know anything about. Hyperthreaders, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Okay, so Trevor, hold on, wait, let me get to this one. You'd have to plot it and check. I don't have Facebook anymore. Sorry, bud. Sorry, Jeremy. Hey, Ted, how you doing, man? Yeah, Dallas fan had said, he was telling Total Tech that the 448A is more efficient than R44A. And it is, and it's a trip too, because the pressures, I was blown away. I mean, I read that the pressures were close to R22, but when I was looking at my gauges, I was like, what? You know, like it kind of took me back to the late 90s when I was kind of first starting out working with R22. It was like, wow, because that's all we used in refrigeration. Again, I remember working with some R12 stuff too, but that was when I was really, really young. So the most of my time was starting in the late 90s and early 2000s, and we still had a lot of R22 refrigeration equipment. So still those numbers still pop in my head when I see those saturation temperatures and, you know, the pressures based on that. So okay, now let me get back to questions here. Okay, so Trevor, you said, did I find ice machines very challenging at first? Yeah, definitely. So the interesting thing about ice machines is there's so much going on there, right? You've got an intricate defrost system, whether it be the hot gas defrost system, okay? The Hoshizakis, in my opinion, are the easiest ones to work on when it comes to their defrost system, but the Manitowocs, they're a little bit more complicated when you get into their pressure regulating valves and different things in the defrost system, but they're really not horrible. Once you get used to them, you know, they're not that big of a deal. But yeah, ice machines in the beginning, sure. Cause you know, you can't, I'm not going to say that you can go up to any air conditioner out there and just fix it, but a lot of the air conditioners, they're fairly simple to work on, right? And even the refrigeration systems, if you get into a basic reach-in, it's pretty simple to work on, right? And the sequence of operation is pretty simple on a refrigerator. But on an ice machine, there's all kinds of stuff going on, right? You got to know how long the water fill cycle is. And then if there's something wrong with the water fill cycle, you got to know what initiates all those different cycles. If you're working on a Hoshizaki machine, you know, the water float has to see so much water in the sump before it'll put the machine into an ice making mode, and all kinds of different variables in there. And then with an ice machine, you got to understand how the defrost system works and what initiates defrost and you know. So yeah, ice machines are definitely a challenge. The biggest thing is just stare at them, watch them operate. Even if you got to take a little bit of time, call your boss and say, hey, I need a little extra time. I'm not going to bill you for it. I just want to stare at this ice machine. And you just got to watch them. You got to watch the sequence of operation. What I suggest you do, I don't have any in front of me, but take a notepad, you know, and write down the pressures and the temperatures and what's going on in the cycle every minute, and just start doing that, or every 2 minutes, and then just start doing that and analyze those pressures and compare them. And just by writing them down is going to help you to remember what the refrigerant pressure should be, you know, and take notes. Lots of YouTube videos explaining how different types of ice machines work. Download the service manuals. That's the biggest thing. There's service manuals for everybody out there. So download the service manuals, and, you know, and eventually it'll come to you and it'll start making sense. Okay. I'm still learning. Okay. And then right in the middle of everything, when you think you got a machine down, like I thought I had Hoshizaki machines down, then they put a new circuit board in there and they do a positive harvest pump out in the middle of the, you know, they basically turn the water pump on in the middle of the harvest cycle now. And it's like, wait, what's going on? Why did the water pump turn on in the middle of the harvest cycle? You know, everything changes. Okay. So you got to pay attention to all the new stuff that comes out. So, okay. let me go down here. How do you get trained to do HVAC systems? You would like to learn how to work on them. Jeff, I would highly suggest you look up your local community college in your area. A lot of times the community colleges have low cost HVAC programs, lower cost, I should say. And, if you're just interested in learning a little bit, you can just take like one semester or something. You can usually do night classes or whatnot. So I'd highly suggest looking up a community college. Also, there's a really, really good website out there called hvacrschool.com. It's ran by Mr. Brian Orr, and he also does a podcast and also has YouTube videos where he instructs you. So if you want to learn more about HVAC, I suggest you guys check out HVAC School. So let's go up into here. I do have to acknowledge the Nightbot just put up a thing saying thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate that. What my first name, last name. You said, do you mind telling me what my favorite lettuce breed would be? Don't know. I know that's kind of a troll question there, I'm assuming, but I guess iceberg or romaine. I mean, whatever. All right. Let's go see what else I'm doing here. So you still have some R12 equipment, one bar. Yeah, I still, up until recently, I had a hospital that had a bunch of R12 equipment still on it too. I've still got a Drama R12, a Drama 502, Drama MP39, all sitting in my shop. 408A, still got some of those too. That's why I'm very hesitant about buying all the next flavor of R22 replacements too, because I'm sick of getting stuck with stuff, because stuff changes and then I'm stuck with the drum of it. So I'm very cautious about buying every new refrigerant that comes out. Okay. Mayhem Refrigeration, you ask if I'm doing an R404A retrofit. Am I keeping the same valve, changing just the power head, getting a new valve? So with the 448A, it's a totally new valve. It has a different power head. It has an R22 power head on it. And then the valve cartridge was a little bit different too. So yeah, it's not the 404A valve. Now, I'm not the best expert on that. I have heard of some people using some things, but I'm not going to comment too much more on that because I don't want to lead anybody astray on how to do a system changeover. Okay. So, but my understanding, to do it properly, you need to change the expansion valve. But I am not, again, I could be completely wrong on that one. So, okay. HVAC School. Lord, thank you so much, man. Lord Philfuss. I really appreciate that, bud. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, HVAC School. Ray says HVAC School has a daily email sent out on different topics. You guys, Brian Orr busts his butt to do that HVAC School stuff. He puts out a tech tip every day. And if any of you guys are interested, and that's another really good point too. Any of you guys that are interested in doing these kind of videos, right, where I'm doing, Brian gives you an opportunity to do it without going full-fledged like I did, right? So you can be a contributor to HVAC School. If you feel knowledgeable on a topic anywhere in the HVAC trade, Brian is looking for people to send him articles and different things, and he'll proofread them and clean them up. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a crazy A+ essay that you wrote for your 12th grade English teacher. Okay. If you can just write an article and it has enough meat in it and it makes sense, Brian wants that stuff. So reach out to Brian. Reach out to him on Facebook. Go to the HVACR School website. I believe there's a contributor tab on how you can contribute and you can contact him. He's also looking for videos. If people just want to like try out making a video, you can basically get your video and he'll give you credit for it. So if you want to do that, if anybody that wants to help, I highly suggest you reach out to Brian. He's given everybody the opportunity. And, for me, it was a little bit scary to put myself out on YouTube, and the way that Brian's doing it and helping people to do that, I really think that's a cool way to get started. Even if you want to, like, he'll promote your channel too. If you write a good article, he'll say written by Chris with HVACR videos. I mean, he's a really, really cool dude. So if you guys have something that you feel knowledgeable on, the other thing you got to know though too is that it's got to be something that he hasn't already written an article on. So go through the archives. But yeah, he's looking for contributors to help him out. So. All right, let's see what else I'm missing in here. The link right there for the Sporlan BQ kit is in there. And remember, share it on Facebook. Get extra entries, guys. So, okay. How or where, this is Ralph, how or where can I find out when Hoshi or Manitowoc is having a class near your location? So you want to go to manitowocice.com or hoshizakiamerica.com, and they'll have a training tab on their website. Click on the training tab. It'll show your local region, and it'll tell you when they're having those training classes. Same thing goes for Scotsman ice machines, Isomatic ice machines, Fullet ice machines. They all do training classes. If you can't find it on their website, then just call their 800 numbers. The tech support number, and just ask them, when's your guys' training classes, and they'll send you the links and different things. So my local area, we already had our Delafield service training. We already had our Manitowoc ice machine training. I don't know if the Hoshi one has passed yet. I need to actually look that up because it might be here anytime. So I got to look that one up. But yeah, I probably won't do any of the other ice machine trainings because I'm not really working on too many fullets anymore, even though I just did a fullet ice machine today. So, but yeah, right on. Tehran, I don't know if I butchered your name, bro, but yeah, cool. Thanks for helping out with Brian Orr with HVAC School. Yeah, Brian's a cool dude. So, yeah, and look at your, like Wonder Homie said, look for your regional parts house for out here. For Hoshizaki, it's Hoshizaki Western. They're in Brea, California. You know, I just call them and they'll tell you when the training classes are too. So you can definitely do that. Okay. How do you do vacation time and personal days for your employees? So the state of California has a lot of different rules, and we really don't have a lot of choice in the vacation time and vacation days. Essentially, from day one, the employees are awarded so many days or whatever. To be honest with you, I would have to do some research on that because a lot of times with that stuff, it's in one ear and out the other. We like set the protocol and we have a secretary that does everything for us. So I honestly don't remember on the vacation days and stuff. But I mean, and then once they hit 1 year, then they get a certain amount of pay in vacation time and different stuff like that. So, okay. Robbie G, couldn't you use 134 in place of R12 if you got most of the oil out? Not the best solution, but on a system the old customer is buying the time. I would highly suggest that you use, on a situation like that, I wouldn't suggest you do it that way. If you were going to use, if you still had an R12 system and you had to get it going, I would use one of the drop-in refrigerants for R12. When I say drop-in, you guys know what I mean. You can't just put it on top of the R12. You have to remove the R12. But the 134A doesn't really work. It's not copacetic with mineral oil. It's got to use polyester oil. So you need to do an oil change, and or the easiest way is to do a compressor or condensing unit change. But I know there's a lot of new laws out there, so I don't know what the rules are with that stuff anymore. But in the past, we would just use like a hot shot or something like that until the customer would let us change the condensing unit. I mean, I can't see you changing the oil in an R12 compressor these days. That just doesn't seem like it's cost effective. So in that situation, I would probably put a new condensing unit there, and then you'd be pretty safe to just leave the evaporator in the TEV and just use 134A refrigerant. So, okay. Yeah. Again, I don't do any R12 stuff, guys. So when I say hot shot, that was what I used. Actually, I never even was a fan of hot shot. I was using R409A was what I was using back in the day. And then R408A for the 502 replacements. Okay. Let's see here. What am I missing here? No, you're good, Ralph. It's all good, bro. Keep talking, man. You're not bugging. Everybody in here's, yeah, I appreciate having a manufacturer's rep in here that can talk about different things, because I'm not the smartest guy, you guys. You can reach out to Ralph, who's Dallas fan. He's a Honeywell refrigerants guy, so he can probably answer some questions a little bit better than I. But yeah, no, you're good to go, man. No problem at all. Happy birthday, I will law tomorrow. Happy early birthday. Let's see. R22. I don't know if I should buy 4 jugs or not. Superior, that one's on you, bud. That's cheaper than I can buy it right now. So good for you. Really appreciate it, Darkstorm. Total Tech, I really appreciate that. Thanks for the nice words. Let's see. Just kind of reading through you guys' comments here. You guys, if you guys got questions, let's throw them into here so we can get them done. I mean, so I can get them answered for you guys. So, Kiwi HVAC, what's the best work boots for HVAC are? Dude, that's a hard one, man. You know, everybody has their own preferences on that stuff. I've always been a Timberland Pro for my work boots. My work boots just phased out. It's time to get some new ones. So I was thinking about some Red Wings, but I really like the fact that I get the 7 months I get out of the Timberland Pros. So I don't know. The Red Wings are a little bit expensive, but the Timberland Pros, I think I'm spending almost 150 bucks already, 160 bucks. So, so my preference is the Timberland Pros. So, and it all depends on what you're working on too. So I do restaurant service. So they have to have the like protective, toe covers on them because I'm kneeling down and the toes get worn out on the boots. So they can't just be leather boots. If they're a steel toe with just leather, then the steel toe will come through the boot really quick, especially working in restaurants. For me, they have to be slip resistant. That doesn't mean that you'll never slip in them, but they're just slip resistant. I get electrical hazard and waterproof boots. So, okay. Ralph Halili. Sorry, dude. I'm butchering your name there. You said, how do you clean the system with a compressor burnout or when 134A system overheats and clogged up the cap tube? Okay. Best case scenario, you change the condensing unit. So let me give you an example. If I'm working on a true refrigerator and we're having consistent capillary tube plug ups, I'm going to request an entire condensing unit under warranty usually. Okay. If we have a compressor failure, I'm going to just change the whole condensing unit. On the little capillary tube systems, if it's a really, really bad, so typically if the customer's not maintaining their equipment, the system has the polyester oil in it. The polyester oil starts to have like a waxing effect when it gets overheated and it'll plug up the capillary tubes. Well, just changing the capillary tubes and putting a new dryer doesn't always take care of that, especially if the oil is really, really damaged inside the system. So the only way to really solve that problem on that system is to change the compressor. And it'll come with new oil and then purge the system with nitrogen, you know, and change the capillary tubes and put a new dryer on there. That's the only way you're going to have 100%, you know, that it's not going to plug up the cap tubes again. Now, I'm not saying I've done that on every single instance. There's been times where I've had a plugged up capillary tube. I just changed the cap tube, put a Sporlan catch-all cap T dryer. I really like the cap Ts. Don't put those copper spun things on there. Throw those things away, okay? You don't ever use the copper spun dryers. Those things don't do anything. Get yourself either a Emerson or a Sporlan. I prefer the Sporlan, the cap T dryers. Those things are the choice thing for cleaning up a system with plugged up stuff inside of it. Okay, let's see what I'm missing here. Okay, so Ralph is saying you can use R450A as a replacement for R12 and 134 and 409. Interesting. Okay. And the same thing goes, Ralph, for the Ralph Halili for the compressor burnout too. If you have a really bad compressor burnout on a cap tube system, I highly suggest that you change the entire condensing unit if at all possible. Sometimes you can't, and you just got to do your best to blow out the condenser. But Smoke Skull, do I recommend a dryer for a 2-ton home central air conditioning unit? Anytime you have an air conditioning unit, it needs to have a liquid line filter dryer on it. Okay. A liquid line filter dryer is not going to solve. Well, a liquid line filter dryer is there to catch any moisture or any contaminants that are floating around in the system. Okay. It's a compressor saver to have liquid line filter dryers. Most systems already have them on there. You just don't realize that they're already there. Yeah, prime time. I mean, it's worked. I've done that too, where you blow out the suction line. Yeah, I've done it, but I prefer to do the condensing unit replacement. But I realize that's not always practical. So I've done the same thing where you just blow the system out. I have not had any luck with any of those additives like the Supco 88 or anything like that. I don't see any benefit of those things. Okay, so I'm not talking crap about them. I've used that Supco 88 once or twice, and I never saw anything amazing happen that didn't happen from just using nitrogen and pulling a good vacuum. So, okay. So Ray, great question. So yeah, if you have the right Sporlan valve, if you have one of these BQ valves, like I have in that kit behind me, and you have a problem, yeah, most of the time, it's actually not going to be the cartridge. Most of the time, there's nothing wrong with the cartridge. On the spoiling valves, most of the time, it's either got a plugged up strainer or it's got a bad power head. Okay. So yeah, usually you can just change the power head or you can clean the strainer on them. But I'd say majority of the time it's a power head problem. But yeah, if there was a problem with the cartridge, I mean, if the valve was gummed up with some goo or something like that, I guess you could just change the cartridge. Yeah. You know what else I've done too? I've also rebuilt an expansion valve. So let's say I needed to change the valve for whatever reason. I just take all the components out depending on the situation and just put, take a new valve, take it apart and put all the components in it and put it back together. So even if it's not one of these BQ valves, I've done that with a normal expansion valve too. Just take it apart and put it back together. That way you don't have to sweat a new valve in. Let's see what else I'm missing. Justin Square Toe. Yeah, I've heard about the Justin boots. I've never used them, but yeah, Total Tech is kind of on the right thing. You can put a larger cap tube if you understand flow rates and different things. So that is possible. You would have to add length to the cap tube. You can use, there's all kinds of conversion charts out there that you can use equivalent length cap tubes, that are bigger, have a bigger orifice inside of them basically, but you're just going to make them longer in length. So that way they still have the same pressure drop across the capillary tube device. Ralph Halili, not a fan of the RX-11 flush myself, not knocking anybody, not trying to talk crap on new Calgon or anything. I just haven't seen a lot of benefit. I've used it many, many times on burnouts, and I never see this amazing result from using the RX-11 flush. And then once you start listening to some of these podcasts talking about the chemicals and the solvents that are in there, and you see it go in the system, but you only see vapor come out, it's like, yeah, I know that refrigerant's boiling off inside there, but there's still residual stuff inside there. So I'm starting to get very afraid of using the RX-11 flush. Not talking crap. There is an instance where I'm still going to use it. Okay. But if it's a system that has got it, basically you're blowing in the top of the condenser or you're blowing in the bottom of the condenser and you're trying to get something out the top, I mean, that's kind of difficult to get all that stuff out. So if there is oil trapped in that condenser, a lot of times your best bet are to cut the lines in different places and just try to blow it out with nitrogen. So, okay, Robbie G. Can you size an aftermarket cap tube based on compressor size? I've had units with no part support from the manufacturer. Can I use compressor horsepower to size a replacement? I would be very, very cautious about that, Robbie G. A long time ago, we used to have basic systems that all the manufacturers followed basic rules. All the manufacturers, I should say, okay? Nowadays, the manufacturers, I always say they beat to the tune of their own drum. They engineer these boxes to do all kinds of weird things, okay? It might be a capillary tube device on the box, and they might run a higher TD than the next guy. Different things. They put bigger evaporators, smaller condensers, all kinds of different stuff. So I highly, highly, highly suggest you go with the manufacturer's recommended capillary tubes. Now, if you don't have a choice, yeah, then you might need to become a Frankenstein and kind of field engineer things. I've done it. I've looked at boxes that have similar evaporator coils that are running similar condensing units and called the manufacturer of that box and said, what's the capillary tube size? And then kind of just guessed a little bit. But I do not suggest you be an engineer. I suggest you let the manufacturers deal with that. But, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. There's not going to be a one-stop shop. You can't just put a capillary tube in there based on the compressor horsepower and call it a day. It's not necessarily always going to work. It might get you close, but, you may have to do some field adjustment. So you may put it in there, start the system up, find out that you're still running a little restricted. You may have to let some or take the refrigerant out and then cut the capillary tube shorter and then kind of play Frankenstein and keep doing that over and over again, which does seem a little tedious. So, Jeffrey Kubiak, you said, what's better Nylog color wise? The blue is the safest bet to go with because the blue is pretty compatible with everything. The red Nylog was for mineral oil. The blue is for polyester oil. But I mean, really, are you using that much Nylog to make that big of a difference? It's really not getting in the system, right? It's really just going on the threads of something that you're sealing. So, it's kind of up to you. But if you have to choose one, I'd choose the blue. So, okay. Sporlan still makes a ZP valve, correct? Low temp valve. And the ZP is the pressure regulated valve. So yes, they still do. They make pressure regulated on a lot of their thermostatic power heads. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a second. So yeah, if you guys don't know, on the Sporlan power heads, if it has the P on the power head after the Z or the C, because the Z means low temp and then the C means medium temp. But if it had a P after it, you typically see that on the low temp. It's a pressure regulating power head. So it kind of acts as a crankcase pressure regulator where it doesn't let the refrigerant pressure get too high in the system. So, excuse me. Okay. Total Tech, size and aftermarket cap tube with a gauge and old cap tube. Actually, Total Tech, thank you so very much for saying that. That is a great point. So you take the old capillary tube out. I totally forgot about that. We have a cap tube gauge. See, this is the stuff I appreciate the guys in here. I have a cap tube gauge made by JB, Just Better, whatever manufacturing. And essentially you cut the cap tube clean, you score it and you break it. And then you take the cap tube gauge. It's just little piano wires, and you put them in there until it doesn't fit. Then the one that does fit, that gives you a better idea of what size capillary tube was in that box. Total Tech, great tip there. That is exactly what I would do in that situation. Okay. Let's see what else I'm in here. Can you size? Okay. Boy, Javier, you said you just got your contractor's license. I don't really have any suggestions for you. Just don't get into something that you can't handle. Don't, try to find some really good customers and stick with those customers. Be honest with them. And also remember that you need to choose customers just like they would choose you. There's nothing wrong with firing a customer. Okay. If a customer is more of a pain in the butt, then you got to let them go. Even if you're still making money, sometimes you got to make that decision that this person is going to cause more stress in your life, okay? And you need to move on. But I realize at this point, you're just starting out. You're probably just going to try to find any customers you can. Just remember, don't let it get to you. Remember, take it easy. This is just a job. Even though it's your career, it's just a job, and it's going to be here tomorrow in one way or another, okay? So don't let it kill you. Let's see what else. Honestly, 22 would qualify as good flush. Yeah, John, sure. But you can't because of the poor EPA. Okay. Let's see. What else I got. What am I missing? Torch tip cleaner works well for sizing cap tubes too. Yeah, Dallas fan, I guess so. I guess I can see that. The torch tip cleaner. Yeah, pretty close. Right on. Okay. So what I want to cover real quick is I'm just going to go over, for the people that are in here right now, one more time. I want to go over this giveaway that I've got. Okay. So I released a video on my channel. And it's the, Sporlan BQ TEV kit. Okay. And if you watch the video, on the end of the video, there's going to be some show notes. Okay. In the show notes or the video description, there's going to be a link. Okay. If you click on the link, the link is also popped up in the chat here, okay? But if you click on the link, it will take you to this page right now, and I'm going to show you guys. There we go. It's going to take you to this page right now, and what it's going to ask you is to enter your email address and or enter your Facebook, okay? If you enter your email address, I'll go ahead and do mine right now just so that you guys can see how this goes. So I'm going to do it by email address. Okay. So basically, it's going to send me an email now, even though it says I'm in. So then what I do is I click share on Facebook, and it's going to share via my Facebook account. I click, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 3 extra points just for sharing it on Facebook. And then when I share it on Facebook, what I suggest you guys do is share it in a group. Okay. If you share it in a group and someone else clicks on your link, then you get 3 more points. Okay. So you get a lot of bonus entries. Like my Facebook page. Like Sporlan's Facebook page. If you do, the most important thing that I really need you guys to do, please, is subscribe to Sporlan's YouTube channel. Okay. So subscribe to Sporlan's YouTube channel. If you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to Sporlan's podcast, and the watch this video link, that's broken. Sorry, it is what it is. That doesn't work. But you guys have a lot of opportunities here to get entries. The giveaway is going to be on April 1st, and that is not a joke. It is legit. There's not going to be anything funky there. I'm not playing an April Fool's joke on you guys. It's going to be a real giveaway. I'd really appreciate if you guys enter the contest, and if anything, just subscribe to Sporlan's YouTube channel. This is basically, Sporlan took a chance in sending me this kit. This kit's quite expensive, and I'm going to give it away to one of you guys, okay? I did say in the official rules that you have to be 21 or older to enter, and you also, if you don't live in the United States, you're going to be responsible for the shipping costs, okay? If you guys do live in the United States, I'll ship it anywhere to you, but if you're out of the United States, you're going to have to cover the shipping costs. So we'll work something out after the fact if you happen to enter and win and you don't live in the United States, okay? The rules also say that it's subject to your local government rules, okay? So if you live outside of the United States and this contest is illegal, then, you know, it's null and void, okay? I'm not going to get myself into trouble for this kind of stuff, okay? But I don't think there's anything wrong with the contest. It's not gambling or anything. There's no purchase necessary to enter. You know, just a basic contest. Okay, guys, this is just for you guys because I want to say thank you. And I really think that this kit is awesome. Okay. So watch my video, the Sporlan BQ review kit or review video or whatever, and, check that out. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, John, I mean, I get it. I understand the concept of using R22 to clear a line. That's fine, but it's against the law because it's an EPA violation. Like, I mean, we all used to use way before the EPA rules, right? Pre-1992, we used to use R22 to blow condensers out and stuff, okay? But that was before we had EPA laws, so. Oh, okay, I could do that. If anybody does, let me see if I've got that right here. Let me see. Hold on just a second, Ralph. Ralph, if you just want to type it in there, bud. Anybody that wants to send it, you could do. I can share it later, but I don't have my Gmail opened up right now to share it in here. So, but yeah, you're more than welcome to share your email, Ralph, if anybody wants questions. Okay, so Robbie G, you said you have the 7 CFM Yellow Jacket bullet. You've had nothing but problems. Had oil suck into the system when the exhaust. Yeah, I've heard about that kind of stuff. That stuff's kind of sketch, man. Right now I'm using the Fieldpiece VP85 vacuum pump, and it's a bitchin' vacuum pump. I really, really dig it. I do have to get full disclosure to you guys that I didn't pay for the vacuum pump. Fieldpiece sent it to me in exchange for some work that I did for them. But it's a bitchin' vacuum pump. So if they hadn't sent it to me, I would have bought it anyways. So what time for announce the winner? I will do it on here, let me type it in here. So the winner will be announced at the live stream on April 1st. So the 5 o'clock p.m. 5 p.m. live stream on April 1st. Okay, so yeah, the winner will be announced. You guys, the reason why I typed that out for deaf HVACR SoCal is because he's actually deaf. So I wanted to, if you guys didn't already know that, he hangs out and comes into the chat and stuff. So, and then he'll watch my videos via the subtitles after the fact. But the live stream, unfortunately, doesn't have subtitles. So he comes in just to talk. Really cool dude, too. Nope, it won't be April Fool's. I promise, Nathan. So, yeah, no worries, bud. All right. Okay, what's in the Sporlan kit, Bob? Hang on. Bob, I did a video on it today. I highly suggest you watch it. This is the Sporlan BQ thermostatic expansion valve kit, and I'm giving this away. So essentially with this kit, you follow the instructions, you can make almost any expansion valve, and you keep this in your truck so that you never run out of thermostatic expansion valves out in the field. This really, really works great for refrigeration companies that are doing night jobs. And the winner of that kit, I'll send a bunch of swag with it too, because I got a bunch of Sporlan swag. Launching very, very soon too is going to be my, everybody's been asking, so I decided to make t-shirts. So the t-shirts are going to be coming out soon. So yeah, I really haven't made the official announcement. I think they are on the YouTube page, but I haven't gotten my samples yet. So I made them and I ordered like samples of all the different shirts just to make sure they turned out good. So I'll make the official announcement soon. And then for people that want to buy t-shirts and whatnot, they'll be coming out very, very soon. Yeah, don't stand under a crane. Definitely. CR refrigeration. Any tips on rooftop installations? Brad, that's a great, great point, Brad. Will Song, that kit is very, very expensive, but the official value of that kit is $100 in the giveaway. Okay. And that's all that I'm going to say. You can email me and we can talk more about that, but yeah, the official value in the giveaway is $100 and there's a reason for that. So, okay. So John, I really don't do residential. I don't do much ductwork installs. Okay. So the friction loss, I really don't know that off the top of my head because I'm pretty much just a refrigeration service guy and I do some HVAC work, but I really don't size ductwork per se. So I'd have to do a bunch of reading and stuff if I was to do a duct job. So I'm not even going to answer that question at this point. That would be something I'd have to read up on. What's the nastiest thing I've ever seen in someone's furnace room? Well, because I work in commercial restaurants, I really don't work in residential, crawl spaces or garages or basements or anything like that. So the nastiest thing that I saw in a restaurant, I've seen like slugs. I went to go do a refrigerator replacement in a restaurant and we pulled out the refrigerator that had been there for like 15 years. And there was like a family of these giant like slugs. They look like, snails without the shells. They were huge and they were like moving around. I've also seen an avocado pit that sprouted leaves and was like long. It had branches. That was a trip. I don't even know how that was possible because it was dark behind that box, but there was an avocado pit. We call it our avocado tree that was growing behind the refrigerator. That's gross. And then we've seen, cockroaches and all kinds of crazy stuff. I typically get rid of those customers for the most part, the nasty customers, and we usually don't do much work for them. A lot of, there was a big giant Mexican restaurant chain that I used to do work for that had the nastiest ice machines in the world. Don't do work for them anymore. So, I really appreciate that, Luther, but I'm just a normal guy that picks up videos. There's much better guys than I out there. Some of them just haven't picked up a camera. Some of them are making videos and people just don't know that they're out there. I try to share the little bit of knowledge that I have with you guys, but I do not pretend to be an expert whatsoever. I'm just sharing the little bit of knowledge that I have. So Jim Petinato, my understanding in my little YouTube investigations and stuff that I've done, basically just stopped making videos. He's still around. He's still alive. He just doesn't make videos anymore. I did hear some rumors. I don't know if they were true, that there was a lot of backlash and trolls in the comments and different things like that. I don't know that to be true. That was just a rumor that I heard. I would believe it because you guys should see some of the comments that I get too. It really doesn't bother me. I kind of let it in one ear and out the other, but there's a lot of horrible people out there. So if you're insecure or anything like that, I'm not saying Jim is. I'm just saying that was a rumor that I heard that, there was a lot of horrible comments and he decided it just wasn't worth it anymore. But I probably shouldn't have even said that because I don't know if that's true. But I have gotten confirmation from other people he still is alive and he still is working. He just doesn't make videos anymore. So there you go, Zach. See? So maybe Zach can answer a little bit more. Yeah, I just heard that he just retired. That's all, and just stopped working, just stopped making videos. So chopped up mice in the condensing unit, Robbie G. Yeah, seen that many times, but how do I get rid of a bad customer? Ray Jim Petinato, if I'm pronouncing that right. He has a YouTube channel. I believe his videos are still up. He has a lot of great knowledge. He's an old school technician, but he has a lot of very, very useful, common sense ways of fixing things. You should definitely search him up on YouTube. So let's see. Yeah. Jim Petinato. There you go. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'll pull that up because we're not doing anything better. If anybody else has any more questions, man, throw them in here right now. So throw them up, and dang, man, Jim's subscriber base is still bitching right now. So let's go. He still has 13,000 subscribers on his channel. Let's see. I'm going to try to see if I can share this channel right now. I think I'm going to be silly on this one and don't know how to share a channel that's not mine. Yeah, you guys are just going to have to search Jim Petinato on YouTube. If anybody has a link to his channel, you can put it in the comments. I'm cool with that. I'll put a link right here. This is just his name. If you just copy and paste that into YouTube. He's got some great stuff on there. Okay. Yeah, there's been customers where I fired. There's been customers that I should have fired and I didn't, and they caused problems. I've had customers get in confrontations with my employees. All kinds of bad stuff, man. So, yeah, that sucks, Ralph. Yeah, that does suck, man. I mean, there's just so many. I get it too. There's so many people out there. I usually will entertain the trolls instead of getting pissed off at them. I'll usually kind of play with them and ask them. Basically, I have no problem accepting criticism. If you guys tell me something that I did wrong, I'm good with it. Tell me, just educate me, but don't try to educate me with information that's not true. I'm going to be as polite as possible to them. I've had a few, but it is what it is, and you just deal with it, and I don't really let it get to me. So, yeah, I believe he was based out of Ohio, Ralph. Yeah. Yeah, Ted, they definitely are. Hey, Ted, we can't say that in the state of California, buddy, because that would hurt someone's feelings if you tell someone that they're gay, okay? Because that hurts people's feelings in California. So we got to be cautious about that kind of stuff. That's hate speech. You guys don't even know what we have to deal with in California. It's so silly. How did I get into HVACR, Javier? So I grew up working for my father doing refrigeration and air conditioning. I wanted absolutely nothing to do with this job. I hated it. I would work with him on the weekends, and he would pick me up because I used to live with my mom, and my dad would pick me. He was like a weekend dad. So he'd pick me up and on his way home from work, and then I'd have to go do service calls with him, before we got home, all that good stuff. So through junior high, I worked the summers, and whenever I was off school, I worked with them for making extra cash, and I just hated it. But then just out of high school, I decided to come to work for him full time, just because I wanted a change. I was working at a body shop at the time, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. Came to work for him, and here we are some 17 years later, something like that. And I love every minute of it. We've since partnered. I'm owner in the company now. My dad's still involved, but he doesn't really work so much. But he does, like tomorrow, we're going to be doing a crane, well, not a crane lift, but we're going to be doing a job, and he'll come out and help me out with different stuff. But he really isn't a service tech anymore. He more or less is office support. So I got everything from my dad and learned from him, and I learned good things, learned bad things, and I just learned which things that were good and which things were bad. No fault to my dad. He just came from a different mentality, an old school mentality where we could kind of just make things work. And that doesn't really work too much today, but I've definitely learned a lot from him. And, we've had good times and bad times. We butt heads, but we get along now, and we're doing good. So that's where I came from. Yeah. You got to remember that, Ted, because us California guys, I'm just teasing you, dude. Okay. So yeah, Anonymous, there definitely has got to be some kind of regulations regarding Legionnaire's disease. That's definitely an interesting one, because there is regulations when it comes to the cooling towers. I know they've passed legislation. I honestly don't know the rules. I'm not smart enough to know the rules exactly when you're working with the makeup air units. I would say that I would be more concerned with the standing water makeup air units, like the swamp coolers. More so than my evaporative cooler, because but I'm sure there's still the potential for a Legionnaire's disease outbreak inside the makeup air unit too. So, but I'm sure there is, and that's probably, I should do a little research on that. But yeah, that is an interesting topic to bring up, because we've used those things forever, but more so lately we've been more concerned about the biohazard materials and the Legionnaire's disease and different things that can come from the evaporative cooler units. Anything that has that water temperature, I think like in the 80s, right? And then, you have the potential of the bacteria growing within that unit for sure. Okay. That's funny. Great HVAC. Yeah. I used to work for a body shop. So all through high school, I took auto collision, and then my teacher got me a job my junior year of high school. My senior year of high school, I only had to take 2 classes. I had to take English and 1 semester of PE. I had all my other credits, but the school wouldn't let you only show up for 1.5 classes. So I had auto collision for like 4 periods. And so my teacher would just he's like, I already got you a job at a body shop. Why are you going to stay in class when you could just go to work? So he would sign me off campus. So half of my senior year, I actually almost didn't graduate my senior year because I never went to school. And it's not because I was ditching to go cause trouble. It's because I would just rather wake up in the morning and go to work and make money than go to school. So I graduated, but it was very, very close. But yeah, so I worked for the body shop for about 2 years and then just decided it wasn't going to be what I wanted to do. I just looked at my boss one day and, I was just like, really, really nice guy. Loved working for the body shop as far as the company goes, though. But I just decided it wasn't what I wanted to do. Okay. Right on, Steven. Okay. All right, guys. I am going to close this up. It is dinner time for me. So I really appreciate you guys coming in here. Please, please, please enter the giveaway. Okay. Go to the show notes of this video. Right underneath where the video screen is, look at the description. There's a link to enter the giveaway. Click that link, okay? The Nightbot, let me see if I can find the Nightbot in here because the Nightbot clicked the link and showed it in here. I'm gonna give you guys the link one more time right now. Control C, and then let me go ahead and paste this in here. Control V, enter the giveaway, guys. Everybody, please, please, please. And the biggest thing about the giveaway is please subscribe to Sporland's YouTube channel, okay? Really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos. If you guys have any questions, send me emails as usual. And we will catch you guys on the next one, okay? Real quick, Rick W., I have no opinion on Zoom Lock just because I've never worked with it, bud. So just don't have an opinion on it.